So that's confirmed to be working.
Yep.
And then if you can introduce, we just have the one case.
Yes.
That appeared with them last time.
Yes.
They don't introduce that.
This is a case of Matthew Storms at 128 County Road D, Oregon, Wisconsin.
And then, ma'am,
Mhm.
could you come up here?
Sure.
And then we'll swear you in, and also the accurate representative.
Is this okay?
Yep, fine.
And just for clarification, I think it's 1281.
Oh, I'm
County
so
Road D.
sorry.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
1281 County Road D.
And Storms is the last name?
Yeah.
O-R, okay. So, do you have the?
Okay.
Is there a clerk's version? Should I make that? Is it? Let me just see. There's any, as a clerk, and it just, as a clerk, the swearing witness to this. Oh, there you go. Here you go.
Okay, so please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony which you shall give in the matter now on the hearing shall be the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
I do.
Okay, this is all very scripted. I mean, it's all very scripted. Let me go through the hearing procedures. So the person filing the objection will testify and present evidence first. The assessor may then ask the property owner questions, after which the board of review members may ask additional questions that they have for the owner. After the property owner testifies, any other witnesses present in support of the property owner will testify. And do you have any besides yourself?
No, I do not.
Okay, I'm going to jump over a little bit here. After all the witnesses or the property owner testified, the assessor will present his case in support of the assessment. The property owner may then ask the assessor questions, followed by the board of review members. After the assessor testifies, any other witnesses present in support of the assessor will testify. Each witness will then be subject to questions from the property owner and the board of review members. The property owner may respond to the assessor's testimony by presenting any other evidence, followed by additional questioning from the assessor and the board of review members. The assessor may then present any other evidence in support of the assessment, again, subject to questioning from the property owner and the board of review members. After all evidence has been submitted under oath, the property owner may make a brief summary of his or her case to the board of review. The assessor may follow with a brief summary of his case. After each summary has been presented, the taking of testimony will be closed. The board of review will deliberate on the testimony in open session, either immediately following the testimony or at a later date to be announced. And then this the record to the property owner. The board of review wants you to understand that under state law, the board of review is required to uphold the assessor's valuation of your property as being correct, unless you by your testimony can show that the assessor's valuation to be incorrect. In other words, the burden of proof is upon you as the taxpayer. And do you understand that?
I do.
Okay, and then we're going to begin the hearing. So for the record, please state your full name and address.
Marlene Culver, Storms, Culver, Collever, and then Storms with an S on the end. 1281 County Road D, Oregon.
Okay, thank you. Then please state what amount, in your opinion, is the fair market value of your property?
850,000.
Okay, and then if you evidence that you have to support that value, please present that.
Okay. So what I have, I created an Excel sheet because there's so much data. We can drop you and then I'll down again. So this is the Excel sheet. Fastened to with properties listed. Fastened to it is the MLS sheet and my access dane information from Wink. Well, the Excel sheet is, I'm sorry, the MLS sheet is from 2000. So these are the access to real estate properties that I'm comparing myself to. Here is another spreadsheet that has attached the MLS sheet showing that I have 4,200 square feet.
Is this multiple copies from?
This is multiple copies of the spreadsheet, that's single copies of access dane and then
Okay,
the very old MLS data sheet.
okay.
I've included that MLS data sheet because it shows that I have 40.
Can I see you hold for just a second while we get our really fast stuff?
This one's got that one, that
Okay.
top one, so I think that's probably data that's just supporting that.
And this.
Once you're done looking at the back end.
Okay.
There's a single set of documents for each of these properties listed,
And that's.
fronted by
So
the
this
access
would
dane.
be, this be everything that, this would be behind here, is that what that
I
kind
think
of thing?
so.
Okay,
Once those paper clips get loose.
yeah, okay,
But in theory, there's a single set of documents reflecting access dane and then whatever real estate type thing I could find online.
Okay.
One set of each of
Okay.
those.
So.
I have the idea.
Has this. Will you, we'll share that. And then these people.
and you wanna. Start with those ones. No.
You can have a chance to take a look. Here's a couple questions. Well, I actually have to wait till Jim comes back. Is there anything else that you wanted to present?
In terms of paper
In terms
documents.
of the evidence you presented?
No, just the fact that the information I gave to you, it all comes from Access Dane and from accurate assessors information, 2025 sales analysis. Falls category, when I spoke with an accurate assessor, according to last, she told me that my home is considered contemporary, so it needs. Also the B1 residential properties under 5 acres and under 5 acres plan, under 5,000 square feet of house. There are no sales under 900,000. And then this lower properties is C. Well, it's all very apple orange, I acknowledge, but relatively similar to mine. I feel like I'm an outlier in my assessment, and then what will be the result?
Let me just narrow down your evidence a little bit before the accurate asking questions. So do you have a recent sale of your property? Any evidence of recent sale of your property?
I bought my house in 2007.
Okay, so no. And any evidence of recent sales of similar properties in your neighborhood?
There's not much, and I didn't bring them in because when I spoke with the person at Accurate Assessor on the morning of the meeting last month, when I tried to bring in evidence of other more recent sales, she said, we can't look at anything past 2020. But
Older than 2020.
yeah, between 2022 and 2024, cannot look at anything in under before 2022, nor anything in 2025.
Okay. Okay.
So that's why I didn't bring it.
Okay, and then any other, and I'm just going to get by the script. So any other specific reasons showing the assessment is in error? So written, just a
Other
complete-
documents, no, I gave you my.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then accurate questions?
Nope,
Okay.
for the most part, I'm not getting.
Okay, the Board of Review members, any questions for the property owner? No. Okay. Was that no for everyone?
Yeah, no, that's a no.
True. And you had said you have no other witnesses with you, so I believe then that, let me just make sure I'm not skipping a step. Right, then I believe, we're too accurate in just any presentation that you have on supporting the assessment.
So for you guys, I have a couple papers for you here, killed a couple trees. So first one here up is we have the case template that I built. Again, using those same sale from 2022 to 2024. Showing a couple of one contemporary and two modern multi-stories. Now, I used the two modern multi-stories because with hers being contemporary, it is a multi-level home. Which is another reason why I put those in there. And if you notice, the first one I actually put on there is 589 Glenway, which is one of the properties that the Mrs. Thorne, right? Smart Arms, okay. It's on the case, right? It's actually on there, and I believe that's on there for 284 square foot. So now, when we're looking at, did everybody get one? I do have an extra one. Okay. When we're looking at comparable properties, and like she said, house is a little bit of an outlier. 4,400 square feet above grade. That 4,400 square foot above grade carries a much higher price per square foot than some of the comparables that she's presented with 1,200, 1,300 FBLA, which stands for finished basement living area, which starting off goes for about 50 bucks a square foot. So now when you start talking about these price per square foots, relative, relative with above grade. So you're talking somewhere that would be normally assessed at 130, 160, et cetera, price per square foot. So obviously, that's why so many people have finished basements, much lower valuation. So now if we were to take some of these evaluations for some of these comparables that she's presented, for example, here, 5417 Honeysuckle, with the FBLA adjustment, removing the value for the FBLA, acting as if it's above grade living space, would be normally assessed at 243 a square foot. She's currently sitting at 211 a square foot. The next closest one again is that 589 Glenway. If we were to take that bottom or the below grade square footage, brought it up, that'd be sitting at about 224 a square foot. As you can see with the template that I presented, there's a little bit of fluctuations between all these on the template. And obviously the value changes, so forth, to make them a comparable set. I mean, the example I gave you next to you is just an example of the kind of the algorithm we use for that FBLA. When we're looking at those comparables, we don't have a ton of comparables. That's why we do that conversion from FBLA into first floor square footage. So it's something that has similar square footage. How would it truly be assessed, truly be valued on the market today?
Can you just repeat what you said? You're saying your assessment is correct based on the adjustment on square footage location.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at just the comparable strictly on the template,
Right.
As you can see, the values actually change. If you look at the FBLA versus the FBLA, you can see that there's a negative. Anything in parentheses is considered a negative valuation. So when you look down, you look at the valuations, there is a $227,000 adjustment on that 589 Glenway. So it's actually bringing down the value to see where it is kind of equalized value comparative to the property at hand. Same thing with 975 Karnosky, valuation change of 44,800, 51,000. So obviously it's creating those differences, something that would create a higher value, making these not comparables. It brings it down to that equalized value to show that what the true price per square foot is and how that would correlate to 1281 County Road, Country Road D. And as you can see, one's 201s, one 224 at 211, pretty smack dab on it.
And then we flip back to you if you have questions for Accurate.
Questions and or observations. So maybe I did a typo at 589 Glenway. I have it, this is what I typed in, and I realize I could be incorrect. I see that the 2025 assessment per my typing is 1.5 million.
Mhm.
Whereas I see yours is 1.1. So I could be wrong.
Are you talking about the 1.122?
Yes, I am.
That would the market adjustment. If you look up just above there, it says total adjustment 227.
In the blue column.
Yep, just believe 3 or 4 columns above that.
Oh, what does that mean?
Rows columns.
What does that mean?
What that's removing 227,000 off of the value of the home due to the little bit newer home, obviously. The land, it's creating that disparity there.
Okay,
That's
so you're trying to even it out.
even it up, even the playing field. That's a good way to put it.
I don't believe you, but I'll take it. I'll accept it.
Yeah.
Not being, mean to you, just saying.
Right.
Because there's 16 acres, looking back at the unadjusted, because we're still gonna be paying taxes at the end of the year based on market assessments. Glenway has 16 acres, the other 2 properties are less than an acre. I realize you did some sort of adjustment thing. These other 2 houses are not from the contemporary, which seems like when I was told verbal that I really had to keep my comparisons to contemporary. Because that's what I have, as opposed to these other, I forgot what you called them, but you had another name for them, I think.
Modern multi-stores. Yep.
Okay.
Well, and like I said, the reason I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The reason I pulled these modern multi-stories is because they're 2 levels. A lot of those contemporaries are usually single levels.
Yeah,
Yours is a double level.
yeah. Also, this isn't really, well, it is kind of addressing. With my second floor square footage is less than my first floor because my living room and my entryway goes up to the second floor. So I think that's where my 4,200 square feet comes from, whereas this is probably just a simple saying, oh, it's same on both levels. That's not the case. By the way.
Yeah.
So the square footage is inaccurate on here. Mine is less than what's reflected.
Did you bring in blueprints or building?
I brought in my old MLS sheet from 2007.
Did you get a copy of everything that was handed out?
Yeah, that
Okay,
should be
you got it.
everything.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I guess just noting the square footage and the acreage, and I'm not really agreeing with what you say, but I know, we can disagree and I could still have my taxes increased on something that's not quite realistic, maybe. Real market.
Board of Review members, any questions about the accurate appraisal?
Yeah, of the appraisal, you were mentioning around FFLA or whatever it was.
FPLA, yeah, sorry. I tend to ramble.
Give me what that FPLA.
FPLA, finish, basement, living area.
Which essentially means the finishes in the basement are less valuable than finishes
Yeah.
above ground.
Okay,
Yeah, traditionally FBLA starts, I mean, certainly can go higher depending on obviously the quality materials and used. It starts at about $50 a square foot. Versus if you were to add an addition the same size above grade, it's going to be assessed at that full price per square foot. Which, for example, could be $160 a square foot, just throwing a number out there.
okay, and carry me through these adjustments in the blue column.
Yes, sir.
Why are they? Why are they significant here? Again, I'm getting caught up in your jargon,
Yeah,
and I'm just a poor little Iowa farm boy, and I just need a little explanation every now and then.
so a good example of the land, obviously the land value change, a decrease in that blue valuation of 161 just shows the land value change from that 289 Glenway. So that's she's taken that 16 acres into account there. That's where that 161,000 comes from.
Okay,
Otherwise, again, the first floor square footage is that price per square foot, that 23,000 on that first floor, and so on and so forth. Since there's no second floor on 589 Glenwood, obviously it's got a positive 89,400 there. And again, bedrooms assessed at about, looks like about 6,000 per bedroom there. Yeah, again,
we have a heating HVAC system here
Yeah.
that is. It's amazing everybody came to. And I'm trying to. Hear you.
what's your last thing you heard?
Then we're just gonna get it to shut down, but it takes a couple of minutes.
You're. That FBLA
Yep.
adjustment. 15,000 is what?
Sorry, what?
The 58,000 adjustment on Glenway.
Yeah, and that's the difference of that 2161 square footage versus no finish in the basement. Was that 58,300? Objection.
So the Glenway property has a finished square footage in the basement.
Exactly right.
And the county road D doesn't have any finished square footage in the basement. And that finished square footage in the basement in Glenway is adding $58,000 of value. So we would have to take that $58,000 of value out to equalize it to the county road D property.
Exactly.
Because county road D doesn't have a finished basement.
Okay.
And I think a really good example is the detached improvements of $42,000. The county road D property has an outbuilding that is adding $42,000 of assessed value.
30.
Um,
Oh, 42,000, okay, now I see.
42.
That's not-
42 one.
It's adding-
Your property.
It's adding $45,300 of value to that overall Glenway property. And the detached improvements on the Highway D property is probably a small shed adding $3,200 of value. So again, to equalize those, to take that extra value out.
Yeah, and that's why we
For the
take the
outback.
value off to rate that true price per square foot.
Okay. That's how I understand it, at least, and it sounds like my
You're-
understanding.
you're on the money.
is.
Explain it probably look like me.
Okay, I'm seeing your spreadsheet here.
Mhm.
And I've got. Generally, as far as a finished, and unfinished basement is $50 square foot.
Unfinished is about 10.
Yeah.
10, 5 to 10, depending on the level and the expense.
And your finished above grade is,
Well, in this case, it's 211. For this house itself.
that's kind of across the board.
Depends on the type of home, how much is there, the quality of the home itself, obviously that can change.
But generally, that's a number you can hear.
$50 is a good starting point for that finished base.
Finished basement, 211 is a starting point for the
It's-
finished upgrade.
It's not a starting point, it's just what her home with that million and whatever divided into that square footage that creates that price per square foot.
Okay. I'm looking at some of these, the bumps that have come up in the properties that she has presented here. There's she had a bump of 56%.
Yes.
The Knollwood one with the, and probably did that some of the time. That's an outlier that
Yeah.
sets there. And then the rest of them, 17. The Glenway goes. Okay, you have a she had put down. $1.5 million. As far as the assessment, and you've got $1,350,000.
Mhm.
So that's an error.
It could be. I won't see it yet since I don't have paperwork in front of me, but that could be what that is.
But there's a lot of them that are in the 35, 39%.
Excuse me.
The
The 1,350,000 was the sale price, but if I'm accurate with the 2025 assessment from Access Dane, and I don't have the paperwork in front of me, I believe that comes up with 1.5 million, but I will concede that I could be accurate.
Did it sell for 1.5?
Or that is that what you're asking me right now? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it did sell in 2023 for $1,350,000. But with the remarket reval, since it's been, the market reval was 2025, with it being 3 years, we did do a time adjusted sale. So we throw a flat percentage on there to follow that incline, that's gonna get you to that full 100% valuation,
Which is the 1.5.
which would be the 1.5, 1.532, 100.
Okay, that's the 1.52, and yet, okay, and then why is this 1.35?
Because that was the sale price,
In 2022.
and in 2022.
And that's been adjusted.
Yep, so that would have been adjusted. I was just gonna say something. And then 589 Glenway did go up 67%.
Yeah,
So that was high for those guys.
I think our average was in the mid-50.
53.65, yeah,
Sounds right.
double check. 53.65
that was it across the board,
for residential.
average.
Yep.
Average.
53.65.
Over the 5-year period.
Yes, since the last.
Since the last one.
Yeah.
Any other questions about accurate assessment? And then no witnesses present for the assessor. You've got a chance, but it sort of flips back and forth a little bit here. So you've got a chance now to ask questions or object or anything like that to what you've
I
heard
know
just
we have
now.
a template and I know it's tries to take out the emotion of the marketplace, but again, I'll reiterate. There's nothing that has sold residential G1 residential properties under 5 acres, for the land, under 5,000 square feet. Nothing has sold for more than 9,000. And I still feel like I'm a very unrealistic outlier looking at that. I get some houses are ranches and some houses have 2 stories and whatnot, but when it comes to the marketplace, I just don't see I could ever sell my house in the next year for more than 850,000. Probably not for more years. Marketplace. So if it's supposed to reflect a marketplace, I feel like this is way, way above real market value.
Any other questions for the property owner from Accurate or the Board of Review?
Can you give me just 1 second? I just wanna, I'm just looking for a quick reality check on a couple of things. So just for additional information, that's all this is. There are lots of home valuation companies in the marketplace, lots of them, independent of the assessor, independent of the recent sale price, but based on market-based sales in the area. And I just grabbed 3 of them just for comparison's sake. I grabbed homes.com, which is people have heard of. I grabbed Redfin, which people have heard of, and I grabbed Zillow, which people have heard of. And they independently, have algorithms that take recent sales and things like that. Homes.com says, and again, I don't know their specific formula. All I know is what they publish based on the market analysis they have. Homes.com values this house at 1.14 million. Whether it would sell for that or not, it's hard to say, but that's what they say the estimate is. Redfin values it at between 1.08 million and 1.3 million. And Zillow values it at 1.097 million. So those are just three more data points from independent sources who take recent past history of sales into account and says this house based on those sales would be valued in this range. And then we have the assessor's value, which is 1.082 million. And then we have all the data that Marlene brought. So just more data, that's all it is. And all of the data that I quickly looked up is all over $1 million, between 1 million and 1.1 million. Our home is considered a contemporary home. And so I have my own history of my own house. It's considered a contemporary. It does have 15 acres, so it has more acreage. And I believe our assessed value is $1,070,000. Okay, similar size, contemporary, one floor with finished below square footage, which has a lower value applied to it. So it has its own adjustments, but in the end, the value came in at over $1 million. I'll just leave it at, and I did sit down with the assessor as well because our assessment went up 58% and I choked on that. And we walked through the comparables. I understood where the adjustments were and we ended, there was an adjustment down, but it was still over $1 million. And our home is very similar size. Actually, it's about 3,600 square feet. So it's actually about 600 square feet smaller, but we do have a portion of that square feet, a good portion that is below grade.
I'm just going to point out that part of the decision-making, we will need to focus on the evidence provided by the property owner and by the assessment company. So, and I think it's a gray area. I mean, I know that you're tying it to the situation, but for decision purposes, there are two sets of evidence to consider.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, and then there's a little bit more back and forth here. So let me just do it this way, and I think I can jump a couple of bullet points. But any other questions for Accurate?
I don't think so. I don't agree with it. Again, things I've already said, it's like it still doesn't, it fails to make sense. When I look at past recent sales, the 22 to 24 sales, it's still not making sense. What I've said already about the 5 acres, the 5,000 square feet. The past evidence doesn't justify, to me, making my house go above 850,000.
Okay, and just to confirm, no other evidence to provide. Okay, Accurate, any
Closing statement?
closing statement, essentially closing statement or questions for the property owner?
Well, and I understand what you're saying with the land. Unfortunately, with the template, it's already making that adjustment for the land, so it's kind of offsetting the land. So I don't think that, at least to the template ones, I kind of understand where you're coming from with some of these other ones. But that's another reason why we look at that price per square foot so heavily. You do tend to find that it keeps it way more equitable when you start kind of talking just total pricing for the most part. One thing I will say, if we do lower to the 850, that would create a 29.55% increase versus that residential average of 53.63, I think, 53, something like that. And like I said, the residential average was 53.65. Really, that's honestly the main thing here. And even with, I was provided with additional housing, the first time she came on, I think the 17th. If we take the average, the highs, the lows of all these comparables that were here, the average price per square foot would be sitting approximately about 508. And that's including, a house that has $160 a square foot. So, I mean, we definitely still have the extremes on both sides, but I think that average is definitely showing that 211 is looking pretty spot. Again, that's with the FBLA adjustment though. not just flat original, that's with that FBLA adjustment.
And I believe with that, then the testimony is closed. And we turn then to Board of Review deliberation. And if you have, we didn't really deliberate last time, I suppose, last Board of Review meeting, because it was, I think, fairly clear. Are there any points that you want to discuss in particular? And again, we're in a position of assuming that the accurate assessment is correct. Is there anything that you've heard that would cause you to question that?
The appellant has stated that the second floor, the square footage of that is not accurate as there's open space.
There is some open
But
space.
you have.
And this, can I just say, this would not be question and answer. This is just
Okay, but
strictly Board of
but
Review.
we do not know how much open space there is. Are you aware of any open
It's
space?
again, it's really just us at this
Just,
point. Yep.
Okay, so I don't, there's. It's a question,
Right.
but we don't have any evidence as to how much open space. We don't have evidence as to will that adjust the price.
And if it does adjust it, is it significant?
Correct.
So,
Significant, right. That's,
And again, we have a requirement to support the assessors.
let me find the line.
Yeah, can you read that
Let me find
one
the
more
line.
time? Unless we find some fault in the calculation, and that's, I guess that's my full
Here,
question.
let me, it's here somewhere. Okay, here's the language. It says, and in the script, it's in, speaking to the property owner. It says the Board of Review wants you to understand that under state law, the Board of Review is required to uphold the assessor's valuation of your property as being correct, unless you, by your testimony, can show the assessor's valuation to be incorrect. In other words, the burden of proof is upon the property owner. So let me just read it again. Board of Review, not the whole thing. Board of Review is required to uphold the assessor's valuation of your property as being correct.
Okay.
Any further discussion on this? I think possibly not.
Just to Arlen's point, if there is a discrepancy in square footage, it raises a question. Just so we have an appreciation for how much of a difference that would make. If it's a 20 by 20 room, that's 400 square feet, that has a 2-story ceiling to it. So there isn't 400 square feet on the second floor that there is on the first floor. I'm just using an example. If that's 400 square feet of discrepancy, and the average value is $212 per square foot. Are we on the same page? Okay.
Yeah, he's up.
Then what would that difference, that's right, I'm sorry. Then what would that difference be in?
There's another limitation to, and sorry to interrupt,
Okay,
but there's
yeah.
another limitation as to if you're asking a question about evidence provided, go for it. If you're asking about
Right.
information that you're finding now, that's not part of this.
Got it. Okay,
So it's very limited.
yes, understood.
there is some evidence that's presented.
Mhm.
Accurate has come forward with a 2,235 square feet per floor
Yes,
for a total of 4,470 square feet.
yes,
The appellant has said there's 4,200 square feet. So by that, there's a difference of 270 square feet.
and again,
Which is-
that
which
we
is-
don't have evidence to that, we just have,
Right, and
Yeah, that's all.
either way,
Yeah.
that's a 15% differential. I'm not counting that as significant.
sure,
And also there is still a value and a cost to that open space. For my architectural estimating days,
Very good.
that open space still costs
Yes,
something.
I got,
It's not-
that's a very good point.
It's not a freebie.
And I don't have the MLS from 2007. Is that something you have?
No.
Marlene, did you say you?
I have one.
Wait,
Oh, there was
may
something,
have
there was a packet floating.
Given you, I think I might have given you one and I gave the Eckert Assessor Fellow
Is that what-
one. It's-
So I just have these two.
That's all I have, yeah.
I don't know what.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, you can pass that on. Those are more detailed
On the tops.
on the counts. It
Oh.
was- We have a packet in front of us with a picture of each home and a summary, but that is a more detailed breakdown of.
This is, oh, here it is. This is great. So this is the MLS sheet from 2007. It's not necessarily super scientific. But the MLS sheet from 2007 shows 4,200 square feet. That's where the 4,200 comes from. And again, the assessor is showing it as 4,470. So that's 270 square feet that Arlen said is a differential, but there's still some cost to that
And that's cost and value.
in that, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? And then what we'll do is,
Could I just-
oh, yes, absolutely.
Just to clarify, is there a point to looking into how that their discrepancy would impact the assessment? Is that what you
Yeah,
were
that's a good-
getting at? Is that it has some cost, but we don't know,
Right, and do we get down into that nitty gritty?
and would it make how substantial that difference?
That's-
That's not really the point, but
Yeah. Right,
I just.
and it would
wanted to
require
clear
more
this out.
expertise than I have, for sure.
Right, which is why we're supporting, legally,
Yes,
whatever I said, read a couple times.
yes.
We're supporting the assessment if it seems reasonably correct.
Mhm.
Anything else? And then let me do, okay, so then we're moving into just a vote on this, and really it's a support or don't support. So let me phrase it as that.
Can I ask you just one question, just going off Lori's there? If there's obviously not a large discrepancy, but some discrepancy, will that be considered and taken care of, whether or not whichever way the vote goes? Not whether it's
I don't believe we provide any direction like that. The homeowner, the property owners have got the ability to go to circuit court.
Okay.
If there's still another step to appealing if they wish to do that. If we say, if we say, yes, accurate is correct, then that's the option that the property owner has. If we say, nope, it's not correct, then I'm not exactly sure what the next step is there. I don't think that our decision automatically assumes that the property owner's value is correct to drop to 850,000. I'm not totally sure about that, I guess.
So, and again, this is just a point of whether it's appropriate or not. Is to ask, and whether or not it requires an answer or not, I'll leave that up to what you think the process is. Is there any consideration for the existing assessed value based on the detail that you heard regarding the 2-story living room?
And you have to almost assume that the assessor's not here.
Okay, all right. Okay, that answers my question.
I'm going in the back of an envelope. here.
Mhm.
I'm taking the 270 square feet.
Mhm.
It represents 6% of of the square footage of the home,
Mhm.
6%.
Mhm.
If there's a value to that, and from my estimating days, it's often considered half. Open space is often a quarter to a half the value of the solid square footage. So that's about 3%, maybe 4% difference. I'm not saying that doesn't move the needle here at all.
Yeah.
It moves it incredibly, or by an extremely small increment.
And to make that
Not-
needle move difference,
Pardon?
to make that needle move difference, no matter how big or small it is, would require, you know, the assessor asked, you have a floor plan that shows the difference in square foot. And so we don't have, we have only an approximation. We don't really have evidence.
And even by the
And
approximation,
even by the approximation.
I'm not finding the
Yeah.
needle moving much.
Yeah. Okay.
Even at 100%, no value to that open space. That's only 6% difference,
Mhm.
not 20%.
It sounds like there might be ready to vote on this.
I think so.
So let's,
How do we do this as far as the motion?
okay, so, do you need a motion for this? Okay, so we would need a motion to, well, essentially the motion would be, do we accept the assessor's accurate assessment value? And
I'll move that
that's gonna be- but
that we accept the assessor's report for 1281 County Highway D in the town of Oregon.
Okay, do we have a second? So, any other discussion? And this is a motion to accept the report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
Okay, and let's.
Motion passes.
And it's gotta be roll call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you hear the motion?
Yeah.
So the motion was to accept the report for the address.
Okay, and then I'm
Does it say
gonna,
roll call? It
yeah,
does.
that's what I was looking for.
So, okay,
So I'm gonna call roll.
do we accept?
Yeah, do we accept Carl Walzer,
Yes, aye.
Lori Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Arlen Kai,
Yes.
Steve Jernigan,
Yes.
Tim LeBrun?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thanks everyone. And again, you do have the option to appeal and it would go to the circuit court.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now,
You know, my bigger concern is for all of us in the town and what's going to happen to our tax bills. How do you recommend a citizen get educated on that next step of understanding?
for the, like the immediate upcoming.
Yeah.
But there's no direct impact. You know, it's not like, oh, my taxes are going up by 50%. It's not that because there's a cap on what we can levy as far as taxes go.
Mhm.
So there are other factors though too, you know, school district taxes and everything else.
That's
And so I
exactly what I'm
don't,
thinking about, yeah,
right, so we don't know yet.
yeah. Because we might be giving a real windfall to those others.
Yeah, the overall tax calculation. The best way I can describe it is if we in the town collected $2 million in tax revenue for our budget last year, and the average assessment went up 56.3%, that doesn't mean we're going to spend 56.3% more. We may spend $2,050,000. And we just use those current assessed values to break down that overall budget, but our town budget. We don't have a plan, we'll have a huge increase in our town budget, we don't.
And I get that for the town,
Yeah.
but my concern is county, MATC, EMS, I feel like there's a school district, like. They're not tuned into us, you know, in
Right.
terms of our 56 point whatever increase on average.
Yeah, we are such a small portion.
Right,
Of the overall tax bill that from a town's perspective, you're not gonna see
And
Big increase.
I know the town is prudent. I know that, but I don't want to say those other people aren't prudent organizations, but
Yeah.
there's the potential that they're gonna get a whole lot of money out of all of us, maybe.
Okay, interesting side conversation.
Yes.
We need to move on.
Yes, yeah, I didn't really anticipate you'd lower it, but I wanted to at least
Yeah, sure.
get my voice opinion out there.
Yes. Great information.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We need to squeeze in 2 more items here and hopefully deliver back. Scheduling.
You on Sun Valley?
I do. After these 2 items.
Oh.
There's still.
If you end up going to
Oh,
circuit court?
Yeah.
What they got wrong is
I
that.
don't think you have.
What's it for low grade? You're lower.
Order of leave this year.
You should have.
I think that was it.
Yeah.
So you probably have a thousand.
Yeah.
That's what's.
Discussion. That's to, that's a portion of.
Well, that was.
Oh, thank you.
That's like, the regression line.
Yes.
I think that, it's not today though. So I don't know if we would put that on, town board meeting to discuss that, but we don't have a notice on this agenda.
Okay.
So hopefully let's put that on.
You have everything that you need?
Well, are we done with the board now?
No, 2 more items, but short, super short, just scheduling.
Yeah, I mean, if
Let's
she's,
go through that and then we have to also approve the.
Should see it. Agenda.
So the.
Agenda.
Oh,
Yeah, I forward it.
Right. Their approval of the cell phone.
Oh, that's before, so we still have to do 2 more of those with you. So for the next day.
5 and 6.
And.
Right, this is what we were saying about, right?
Yeah,
That's what I'm asking.
we shouldn't have to schedule anymore.
Not this year. right?
Yeah, okay, perfect.
That should be it.
Do we need to schedule next year's already?
No.
Or it's just.
No, I mean, you guys let us know when you guys, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
oh, that's right. Good. Okay, so that's it. And then.
that's next year's problem.
Yes.
Getting. I don't know if we approved the entire assessment rule before, we probably couldn't have without, with
No.
pending items, so we need to approve that then.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've reviewed the assessment role already. We've sorted out any appeals. I'll be looking for a motion to approve the assessment role.
I move to approve the assessment role for 2025.
Okay, for a second.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion passes. Thank you. And anything else for this meeting before I wrap it up? Without objection, the board review meeting for today is adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah. I think you guys were on the right track.